What is going on? I'm told we're in mock draft season. I can't start my weekly mock draft in 27 point. I just can't do it yet, man, because by the time it's a couple weeks away from the draft, you're just absolutely worn out and you just want the Jets to pick some freaking players. But I do want to talk about a couple of mock drafts put out there by the draft nerds, the so-called experts. Where do they have the Jets going at pick 13? And Daniel Jeremiah, who is probably one of my go-to guys for draft intel, a scout who worked under JD. I think DJ knows his stuff. He had the Jets going with Broderick Jones, tackle Georgia. That name just it keeps coming up, and I think it's a really likely scenario because the Jets need an offensive tackle. Pretty much everybody has Peter Skoronski as the number one tackle in the class. Highly unlikely he makes it to 13. He could even be as high as like a top 5 pick. If people view him as a tackle and not as a guard, he's kind of an AVT-like prospect. If he's there at 13, my God, you don't even think about it. I don't care where they play. You get 2 elite offensive linemen and you figure it out from there. But if it is Broderick Jones, I'm okay with that too. Him and Paris Campbell are the 2 and 3 tackles respectively. However, depending on who you talk to. And Broderick Jones, 6'4", 310, bully at Georgia. People project him to be a better run blocker early in his career than pass protector. I've seen a lot of pro comps to Dwayne Brown, and I know that, recency bias tells us what, but we have to remember Dwayne Brown for about a decade in this league was a rock solid left tackle. So I'd be stoked if the Jets got their hands on Broderick Jones. You plug him in at left tackle, and hopefully we got AVT and maybe a Max Mitchell or a free agent back over there on the right side, and we're doing okay. We're doing okay on the offensive line. Probably not going to be great, but we can stabilize it with a signing and a draft and AVT returning healthy, absolutely. Now, the one that came in here and threw a wrench in here was old Mel Kiper Jr. Yeah, I know Mel gets a bad rap, but there's something I got to respect about this guy being one of the first to ever do this. He's been doing this for like 30-something years, like longer than I've been alive. And he had the Jets taking Jackson Smith and Jigba, JSN, as he's known, wide receiver, Ohio State, another Ohio State wide receiver in the first round. And this one's interesting because JSN last year, he put up 1,000 yards, and when they were doing the way too early 2023 projections, a lot of scouts had him as like a top 5 overall prospect. And now some people don't even have him as the number 1 wide receiver in the class, depending on who you talk to. So he missed a lot of games. He only suited up for 3 games. He had an injured hamstring. He had like 5 catches on the year, so his stock has taken quite a big dip, but the tools are still there. 6'1", 200 pounds, athletic, just everything you could want in a wide receiver prospect. He's got it. And I'd say this, damn, oh man, you better be getting another like wide receiver 1, right? You better be getting another Garrett Wilson if you're going to pass on offensive line and go a wide receiver at 13. Now, you do have to take the best player. Like if it is Garrett Wilson 2.0, you just take him. You take him, and then you take great players, and you figure it out from there. You can't reach based on need. But if it's close, right? If you have a guy ranked, your offensive tackle is ranked at your 16th prospect, and JSN is your 11th prospect, you got to pivot a little bit based on need. And I would be surprised if the Jets went wide receiver. And in the case, if the top 3 tackles are gone, I think this could be a draft to trade down in. Maybe you trade down to the mid-20s. And then you get another second-round pick. This is the least amount of draft capital JD has ever had to work with. So instead of being aggressive last year like he was trading up to get higher quality picks, maybe he trades down to get more quantity in this draft. And then, if you trade back to the 2025, then maybe you're in the market for like the top safety in the draft. And then maybe you could take 2 offensive linemen in the second round or something like that. There's some flexibility there. I just don't see a wide receiver, but I'd be cool with Broderick Jones or any of the top 3 tackles. And if you do get JSN, you better be getting Garrett Wilson 2.0. Go Jets.